Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build NBA Edition. I'm Kevin Roberts, joined with Taylor Smith as always. It's been a little bit of a layoff here. We weren't here for the weekend, and we are ready to get back in the saddle. The goal is to help you win. If we do that in any way, help you out at all, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and come join us in Discord. The Discord is free. You can also gain access to our packages, picks for various sports, namely NBA, DraftKings, over on our Patreon. So come check all that stuff out. But for right now, we are going to break down the slate, going over our favorite plays, starting at the point guard position. Cade Cunningham against the Jazz. Smash spot alert. He has been utter butt the last couple games. But, speaking of get right spots, this is as good as it gets. 55-point fantasy projection. SGA is $500 more and just a little bit behind him at less ownership, but it's not nearly as good of a spot. I mean, I'm just kind of going full bore on Cade here at this price. His price has come down a little bit. He's got one of the best matchups of the entire slate. A little bit owned here at 22%, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. No Tobias, so that should boost his usage a bit. No Jaden Ivey, obviously out for the year, so great spot. Prices come down a bit. Utah should be more whole than they were last night, but even at full strength, it's not an imposing defense. So I do like Cade quite a bit. Point guard, as usual, is fucking loaded, though, so it's not like something you absolutely have to do. I'm not concerned about the recent form. Like Denver was playing tight. They were doubling him every time they would do a pick and roll, just blitzing him. So he kind of didn't have much usage in the last game, but Brooklyn's also not an easy matchup. So this is a much better spot for him. No issue at all with it. There should be enough value to pay for him, which we'll get to. And there is some cheap value at point guard that looks okay, but the high end is always stacked, as usual.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the best possible matchup you can ask for. 28th in assists, the Jazz rank on the year, 29th in fast break points, and dead last against the three. The thing is, K is not the only guy who's going to look appealing here, so we'll get to that in a little while, but obviously he looks great. What's your interest in SGA for $500 more and a fraction of the ownership?
Pretty minimal. Just depends on the Houston situation. Like a lot of Rockets are questionable. Van Vliet is out. The game already has a 10-point spread. OKC is on a back-to-back. Houston's not yet. OKC is still favored by a ton. Houston has several players, including Men Thompson, listed questionable. And it's tough because if those guys play, like I don't really want SGA going against Men Thompson with Chet Holmgren back for the price. But if they're out, like the game's probably a blowout. I don't really want to pay top dollar for SGA in that situation. So probably not getting to him tonight. He's always in play. Like we've seen, the games will stay close when you don't expect them to, that kind of thing. He has slate breaking upside. I just think there's enough else for less, including Cade, that I like more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not really a good spot if Houston's at full strength, and then if they're not, then there's like blowout risk here. So it just doesn't really feel like the spot to pay for him. So cue the 70 burger for sure, right? The reality is there's other great plays. Obviously, Cade, $500 less in a way better spot. Then you also have Trae Young at 9.6, Kyrie at 9.5. You certainly can keep talking about these other guys, but those guys look the best, I think, if you're not going to play Cade or SGA. I think Trae in that amazing game environment with Memphis, what that total is, what is it? It's 252 and a half. Like, what the hell is that? So that looks amazing. Like, it does feel a little bit gross going after somebody like Cade at ownership in a game where the Pistons could house Utah and then like kind of just bypassing a slightly less owned Trae. Trae's a little bit more volatile, and as we've said a million times, so like the game environment, yes, it's amazing, but the Grizzlies aren't actually a bad defensive team. They're a pretty good defensive team. We'll note, though, they are 22nd in three-point makes allowed on the year. Obviously, that's how Trae gets his butter. So I think Trae's a great play, 9.6, and Kyrie with the massive usage. Also, PJ Washington not playing tonight, so it already was great usage, and it just gets even a bigger boost in Sacramento. Not a very scary matchup. So if you want to save a little bit of money here and go with those guys, they're going to be a little bit less owned than Cade. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, Memphis, like they're a quality defense or whatever, but they play so fast that it really doesn't matter. Their opponents still score a ton. Like you said, they're a three-point funnel, mostly spot-up stuff, which isn't necessarily Trae's game. He's more of a pull-up type three-point shooter, volume guy, but matchup's amazing. I'm getting to him a decent amount at 9,600. There are actually 3 Hawks that are point guard eligible I'm getting to total. 2 of them have a bit more than Trey. But he is a great play on his own. Ditto for Kyrie, like you said, without PJ. And then John Morant at 8,300 with, in that insane game against Atlanta without, Jalen Johnson, George Niang is out. So it's kind of a thin Atlanta team tonight. So Morant for 8-3 is just cheap. And I love that. He's been volatile. He might be questionable himself, I think. But obviously, if he's in, no issue with getting to him. Don't mind Hero facing Washington, the matchup that we target every single day relentlessly. Not even a full strength Washington. So like that quite a bit. Malik Monk without Sabonis, like the Kings are in a pretty good spot against Dallas, the shorthanded Dallas team that can't protect the rim. I think I prefer the wings, DeRozan and Levine a bit more than Monk overall, especially given the strength of point guard. But Monk is also a great play you can opt in for there.
Yeah, nothing incredibly new to add there. Dyson Daniels, I think you were kind of alluding to him, 6.8K in that really nice game environment. That looks pretty good. For value here, I mean, the Miami Heat guys could be where we go with Wiggins still questionable again after missing the last game. Hawkes is out. Khalil Ware is out. So Miami's going to be down some bodies. It's going to depend on who starts, but Davion Mitchell is getting crazy minutes. Like, he's not really historically the best per minute guy, but it is the Wizards. He's still only 4.6K. He's been playing 37 minutes basically every game. So I do have a little bit of interest in David Mitchell. I think Alec Burks is a little bit more appealing still, though, at 3.3K. He's the guy I'm looking at currently as far as Miami values and just like values at point guard in general. Are there any other guys that you like going down here to save cash? And what are your thoughts on the guys I just mentioned?
Yeah, I think I like Dyson Daniels quite a bit. He's going to be busy, going to play huge minutes in that game with a super high total, 6,800. We've seen ceiling from him. Just the defensive stats alone make him worth consideration. Let's see. Davion's okay. Like 4.6 is kind of steep for him, given his history of being a weak per minute guy. But like you said, the minutes are huge, and they're playing Washington, so I think it's okay. Burks, only if Wiggins is out and he's starting again. Right. Like if he's coming 100%. Off the bench or if Wiggins is in, that's a no-go. And then we can talk about Utah again. They don't have Markkanen. They don't have Clarkson. John Collins is doubtful, and Colin Sexton is now questionable.
Oh, man. That game is definitely going to be a blowout.
It looked like they were going to be at full strength, but we just got the report, and it looks like they're not. So I guess Collier and George are going to be playing. Not dying to do that at elevated salaries in a tough matchup against Detroit.
No. Yeah, I know. 1 minute ago, we got this news. Dude, I don't know if I can do Cade. I don't know if I can do Cade if Utah is just not even
I liked him more when the game had a 9-point spread. I assume the spread.
Yeah, exactly. All these guys we were assuming they would play, right? So the matchup is honestly even better now than it would have been, but I don't really trust that we're going to get a full game out of Cade. So just something to keep in mind, especially if the ownership sticks. If the ownership drops, I'll still have a lot of interest there. All right, let's kick it over to shooting guard.
Hold on.
Just a lot.
There are a couple more.
Okay.
I know we're trying to go fast, but I think Maxey, even though he's been playing shit, is fine. And then Terrence Mann and Dennis Schroeder, both playing elevated roles for their teams. So I don't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, for savings and stuff, I don't really want to play Terrence Mann.
Bob Carrington without Jordan Poole.
Bob Carrington at 5K and Keyshawn George, who I don't think he's point guard eligible, but those guys, I mean, Poole's out, so like they're going to get 30 plus minutes probably. Tyrese Mack, he was changing his shooting so he's only shooting with 3 fingers. Did you hear about that?
I know he has a finger injury and that he's shooting.
I do not want anything to do with Tyrese Maxey right now. That sounds horrible. Granted, 9K, no Embiid. Blazers are not the worst matchup in the world. He projects pretty well, but why not just listen to that bullshit and not mess around with Tyrese Maxey on a slate this size with this many options? I'm not doing it. He's a fine GPP play. I just think he's completely unnecessary when you realize his freaking finger is alien, making him suck. Over at shooting guard, there's not like a lot of amazing options up top. I think this is a value position. If Ja were to miss, Bane would look amazing. I think Bane's in play in this game environment anyways. Hawks are a great spot. He's only 7.6. And he projects really well. So if you want to play Bane, don't have a problem with that. Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, very similar plays. So they're fine. Nothing wrong with that either. Dyson Daniels we already talked about. I just think I'm probably going to start it out considerably lower. Malik Beasley at 5K. You got Kelly Oubre getting monster minutes for Philly. I think he at 6.3K, he's a little bit more appealing than paying up for Maxey. I don't think Quentin Grimes is going to get 44 real points again, but in theory, he would also be in play. Don't think I'm going to do that though. I'm just looking to save here if I can. I think it starts with Malik Beasley because all he does is shoot threes, and the Jazz are horrendous at stopping 3-point shooters.
Yeah, he's about as core play as a core play could be on the slate. He's 5K. He's shooting guard, small forward eligible. He's playing Utah. Revenge game there for him. Should start maybe without Tobias. Either way, he can get huge minutes. So he's kind of a smash. Someone I'm probably going to have in 80+% of my lineups as of now.
I'm sure that feels good.
It's whatever. Like it's the nature of the slate.
Chalky Malik Beasley, baby.
He's good. He's averaging over a fantasy point per minute. He's shooting the lights out this season. So whatever. If he fails, he fails. But yeah, I'm okay with it. Oubre is good, like you said. Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant's still out. His price is coming up, but the role's huge. He's playing like upwards of 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Philly, not the most opposing defense without Embiid. Karis LeVert for Atlanta with bodies missing from the lineup. Great game environment. And then on down you go. Carrington, Pajemski, Levine, like you said. Schroeder's okay. Kind of fringe plays after that.
Yeah. I'll also mention Nick Smith Jr. just because he's playing really big minutes. This is now 5 straight games with 33+ minutes. I don't like him really as a player, and the matchup with the Warriors is not good, but he's playing even when they get housed. So I think he's okay at that price. On to small forward we go. Paul George is the best projecting player. Yay! That feels really good. Paul George is in play at 7.5K. He's going to get big minutes. The Blazers are not an unbeatable matchup. But at the same price point and half the ownership, I prefer Jimmy Butler. I think both these games could easily end up blowing out. Although Portland went into Cleveland and took them to overtime, so you just don't ever know anymore, do you? But Jimmy Butler looks really good, and he should be back here at 7.6K against the Hornets. I think I prefer him to Paul George, but both are in play. Jalen Williams smashed last game, but with Chet back after missing just only the game that we played him in, basically, which was really fun. Jalen's not as exciting. So I think it's fine to pay up here, but much like shooting guard, small forward feels like a place to save a little bit of cash. And I think I'm going to start doing that. If I don't use Malik Beasley there, I'm going to start doing that with Denny Avdia at 6.7K.
Yeah, I don't hate Paul George. Like, the minutes have been up. He's been okay lately. So maybe he's getting over his finger injury. Finger injuries are going around.
He also has a finger injury.
Yeah,
what is going on in Philly?
Horribly for like 2 months. There's a lot else here though. Like, I like Najee Marshall in the mid range. I like Asar Thompson in that Pistons Utah game.
For sure.
Minutes maybe will come up
Love
for him.
Asar.
Risa Shea at 4.5 without Niang. Minutes should be pretty safe for him in that awesome game against Memphis. Don't really think you need to do Haywood Highsmith, thankfully. I hope people play him. He got a ton of minutes yesterday and didn't do damn thing with them, which is what he always does. So I know it's the Wizards, but I'm happy to fade Haywood Highsmith into ownership.
Look at that balmy 7% usage rate.
The man will not shoot when he's out there. I think it's kind of Beasley, Ricochet, Marshall, and the stars weren't going here.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a crack at Tim Hardaway Jr. at 3.9K. Again, Jazz don't stop 3-point shooters. He takes threes. He's only 4K, or 3.9K, and he's probably going to get 30+ minutes here. Good chance since there's no Tobias, so I don't mind him. I mean, honestly, full Piston stack without going Cade might be the way to go here. Like paying a premium for Cade in a possible blowout spot is a bit scary, but firing up these cheapy Pistons is not scary. I think that is a pretty good way to approach this thing. You can still play Cade if you want to. I think I'm just backing away from him a little bit. Over at power forward, if I'm able to speak, Paul George and Jimmy Butler are still eligible there. I'm with you. Like, I like them okay. I think they're good prices and good projections. I'm just not like super excited to spend my cash there on this slate. I would rather just go get 2 really good point guards, I think. Bam looks fine at 8.4K against the Wizards. Obviously, Biggs crushed there. No Khalil Ware. So honestly, he looks more than fine. He looks a little bit. The projection might be a tad light here based off of that. Just has a really big ceiling, given the matchup. So I do like him at 8.4K. Probably my favorite power forward spend up here Jaren Jackson Jr., if no, Ja would look amazing against the Hawks, still in play at 8K, just not like a mega priority like he probably would have been. And I'm with you on the Najee thing because he's small forward, power forward eligible with no Moses Brown, who weirdly Dallas can't bring back after a 10-day contract. So don't play Moses Brown. He's on the Mavs in the player pool. You cannot use him for Dallas. Najee looks good at 5.4.
Yeah. The only guys we haven't talked about that I would add are Champagny for 3.6 with the Wizards shorthanded. Keegan Murray for 5.2 with Sabonis out, going to get a little more usage his way. And then I think you can punt with Fontecchio at 3.2. Like the minutes should be okay without Tobias. I don't have a lot of faith in that, but he can be in the player pool as a lower owned distant option. And then Tari Eason, depending on if he plays, depending on who else for the Rockets plays, like if they're shorthanded, I think he's going to start tonight if he plays because Van Vliet is out. He's 5'5". Matchup stinks, but I think he's cheap enough.
Did you say Amen is also iffy?
Yeah, and so is Şengün.
Okay, so if Amen and FEV are out, is it Reed Shepherd season?
I don't know. Like they could start Aaron Holiday. I don't know what they would.
Why
they would start
though?
Shepard because he's
Why
bad
though?
and Reed Shepherd sucks so far. So I'm guessing that's
Why?
why.
I don't think we know what Reed Shepherd can do at all. He hasn't
I
really
said
gotten
so
any extended
far
run.
he sucks. He's not been good so far.
He doesn't ever play. All right. All right. Kick it over to the center here to wrap things up. We have Şengün leading the way. Obviously, he's questionable. Not a great spot against the Thunder, but I mean, pre-Chet, they give up. Huh?
We can just skip to Valanciunas.
I know. Well, yeah. Obviously, JV is the chalk. That the projection at 5.4K is insane. He had 49 fantasy points in 30 minutes last game. No Sabonis. Like he's just you were saying Malik is the chalkiest of chalk. I mean, JV is the chalkiest of chalk. Like I am not fading JV. This is definitely the whole like if JV fails, okay, cool. Like whatever. Like the DFS gods just don't want us to win today. You know, I'm not fading JV. So he's just like the first guy in. He looks awesome. I still like Bam okay. JJJ if Ja is out. Not really into Şengün though, so it is starting with JV 100%. I think Duren at 6.9K against the Jazz, that looks pretty good. I don't have a problem with that. But my second favorite play after JV is undoubtedly Onyeka Okongwu, 6.1K, nice price, nice projection in that great game environment against Memphis. So like, you know, I think the Memphis Atlanta thing, I don't feel compelled to like go out of my way to stack the game, and I don't really think I have to go get Trey. But I like that you called out some of these other guys like Riza Shea and who's the other guy? Karis LeVert. Like you get cheap exposure to this game and like benefit from it without spending a ton of cash. I think my favorite way to do that is going to be Onyeka.
Yeah, I think the chalk build is going to be a 2-center build with Valanciunas and Okongwu. I don't really have an issue with it. Otherwise, you're getting different. So, you know, you can play Bam there. I think Drummond at 5K is still okay. Alex Sarr may be okay in the tournament. And then Duren, I like that call as well. Center's kind of shitty today. I guess we could get into like Steven Adams or Jock Landale or Jabari Smith, depending on what happens with Houston's injury news. And then Chet, I think you can add Chet to the mix. 7,100. Missed only one game. I don't know what they're going to do with his minutes. I think it'll be okay. I don't mind buy low on him tonight.
Yeah, still good price. Not really the best spot against Houston, but I think price-wise and ceiling-wise, you certainly can do that. It really burned a lot of people. I think that's another thing. If people are same thing with Cade beyond like the blowout risk, I think like Cade's been bad, and you know Denny got hurt, and then like yesterday he had a 30-point triple-double in overtime, had like 60-some fantasy points against the Cavs. So like if recency bias is just going to try to take you away from really good play, you can just definitely fight that and just play a guy who looks good, even though he may have burned you recently. So Cade, Chet, and I guess even Denny technically are those kind of options. All right, let's wrap it up with our
one more real quick. I think Mark Williams has gone back into like super duper mega smash mode every night, and he's under 8K. So I think it's okay. I'm a little concerned about Charlotte getting destroyed, but he has slate breaking ceiling.
Also, the Warriors can just go small, but which could benefit him. But yeah, we'll see. So, okay, is Mark Williams your flag plant of the night?
Fuck no.
All right, so let's go with that. What's your number one play that you're building around, and what's your overall strategy?
It's obviously Valanciunas and it's obviously Beasley. So not really reinventing the wheel on that. I think Dyson Daniels is going to be my flag play. Just a nice mid-range price point. Minutes are going to be safe, given his defensive assignments in this game, if those guys play. But I think he'll be fine either way. And he'll be chalky, but I don't know if he'll be overwhelming chalk by the time lock rolls around and we get this injury news that we're waiting on. So I think Dyson's a very strong play that I'll be building around tonight.
Yeah, nothing too different from what you're saying. I don't think I mind the whole Onyeka JV center chalk build. If that's chalky, so be it. They look like two of the best plays of the slate. Anyways, I'm totally comfortable eating the chalk with Malik Beasley as well. No issue there. I think my really only flag plan is probably going to be Kyrie. I want to pair two point guards because they're the best players on the slate. I'm still okay with getting the Cade if you go there. Not super interested in SGA, but if you want to pair Cade with somebody else who's not going to be very owned but has a massive ceiling, I think Kyrie is one of the first guys that stands out. And then, of course, if you want to just eat a little bit more chalk and get a similar play, Trae Young is totally in play for that as well. All right, lots more to consider because we're still a few hours away from lock. Things can change. Head over to our free Discord to chat it up, and then obviously you can get access to our core plays via Patreon and check out Patreon in general for anything else that we're offering. Thanks for watching and good luck.